so b'meila, when we're looking at Yud Beis Shvat,
This is so fascinating. It doesn't matter what we're talking about.
the Yud Beis Shvat Bechlal is already when the person. It's interesting because when it comes to Yud Zayin Shvat, which the Rebbe brings about the union of Kiddush HaChedesh, that the Alter Rebbe made a luach, and by 9 years old he was giving Chochmas Handosi, he was giving a shir in astronomy. 9 years old. This is the time that a person is 9 years old, those 5 days. They're not 10 years old, and the Rebbe is speaking with the child. There is excitement and there's intellect, and you have to start growing up. I mean, this is Poshet, the Rebbe speak, or the Inyan that the Tzemach Tzedek said to the Rebbe Marash when he was 7 years old. The quality of a person over an animal, that he's able to look up and see the sky. These are all Inyanim that are Poshet in those years. Actually, when we think about it, when we see how every 5 days is another Inyan, this is Poshet, a whole guidance of Chinuch. Die ein Mensch darf den erleben. And then by the end, the Rebbe says, I don't want your Gan Eden, I don't want your Elam Habod, I want only you alone. This is right there, Shleimas Haveda. Okay, so now we go back to this Inyan, that the Inyan of mind and heart, and then there's the buffer between. So now we turn the page to page 1200. When a person finds himself b'meitzer hagoren, which means he finds himself in the buffer between mind and heart, so the seichel is not pure anymore, it's already limited. There's already a certain cloud, a certain limitation, a certain restriction to the seichel. It's already out of the area of seichel. V'gam hamido adayin libala deis rachvusa. Also the emotion did not yet develop in its fullest measure, because this is the midpoint between. Lefichach efshe shatiyah mezeh yenika lelumazeh. It's possible. Therefore, it is possible there should be a yenika for the negative elements, the impure elements. That this is what it says in many places in Chassidus. The Meitzer Hagoren has 3 pipes: a windpipe, and then it has the pipe of eating, a food pipe, and then there is the vridin, the veins, the what? Okay, I guess I'm from biology. These are the 3. One is kana, one is veishet, which are the 2 sides. We know it also by the Seder of Pesach, that the reason we lean on the left side is because the right side is the windpipe. That's one of the reasons why we don't. And B'meila, kana veishet vriden. They are referred to as shebemeitzer hagoren beguf kipshut. Wait a minute. Nechlak legimel sari pari. They represent the 3 sorim of pari. One is the union of taivas, Sarah mashkim, that's the kana. And then there's the Sarah Ephim, is the Veishet.
What's that, the windpipe?
The eating pipe, yeah. And then, where person eats. And then the Sarah Tabochim is actually the...
Butcher.
Right, butcher. That's the union of blood. Resichas Hadomim. That's the pulse thing.
So, one second. So the first one is...
Kone. Kone is basically where the air is coming through, which is connected more with Mashkim.
On the
Sarah Mashkim. The wine. Right. Okay. And then there is one. Then there is the veishet, is where the food goes down, and there is the second one, the baker, and then there's the vriden where the blood. The main thing is where the veins are. Ve'im kana veishet uvriden shebemeitzer hagoren beguf kipshute. V'hinei memeitzer hagoren, from the meitzer hagoren yochel ishtalshel metzatzi b'sheines u'mishunes, that because of from the meitzer hagoren could result in negative inyanim. In other words, from there could result negative things in the chain of the whole system. They can hold up the hashpa, the flow, and what's being drawn down, and the activity of the resolution in the mind and the heart, and it'll hold it up. The inyan that the meach, the mind, should rule over the heart, that it can bring out the strengthening of the heart and desires over the mind. Yetzer Leva Adam Ramenurav. The inyan of Yetzer Leva Adam, how the person is wicked yet from his youth. Where is this? This is between the mind and the heart. What is an example for that? This week's parsha. This week's parsha is an example. Umolak esreisha. Speak about a bird. The sacrifice is also molak, to separate the head from the body. This inyan of umolak esreisha, Chassidus explains, this is the inyan of Amolik. Amolik is from the word, as ich steht in Torah. Amolik is the word of Melika. He also wants to separate and say, what are you getting so excited? Leave it in your mind. Think about it on a deep level, but don't bring it down into excitement. Don't get warmed up about it. Don't get excited about it. Separating mind and heart.
Malika needs to separate?
Is lashon molak, right? Cutting off like by the bird. But all the different. This is the way of they did it in Beis Hamikdash.
Malika means squeezing out,
No, mitzah. Or the lashon is nimtza dome. Melika is the
No, you cut it with the nail, no?
right. Oh, but molak es reishe. So Chassidus says this is the separation between, accomplishing separation between the mind and heart. And where is the melika? It's all melika. Melika is also on behind the throat. So this is the eiref. And actually, this is the union that also eiref is Ashias Pari, and this is where Pari's three butlers were. In other words, this is a place where you can hold up that the mind should not transmit the message to the heart. The mezen ishtal shel inyan shel golus. This is where the union of golus comes, and the Rebbe stresses golus in general. The tmura zeh sheyehudi tzorech liyaz b'mayim the matzav. That instead of the fact, despite the fact that a yid needs to be in a state shu chelik elekam mal mamash v'nishmasi yiker, that is a chelik elekad, that is neshama is part of Hashem, literally mamash v'nishmasi yiker, and his neshama is the priority over the body. And bonim atam lavay elekechem, and yid not consider children to the Eibishter or be'efen shel gadlus, in a greatness, as they are referred to b'ni b'cheiri Yisrael. B'cheiri shows an union of priority, an union of elite. Nasa etzliyin shel gadlus. So instead, that the person should know who he is, he finds himself in a state of exile. Bonim shegolu mal shulchan aviyam hamelech. Children that were driven away from the royal table, from their father's table. As the Talmud tells us, the tractate in Brachas, that the Eibishter cries about that. Oy le'av shehigla es bonov, yeah. Oy le'bonim shehugla mal shulchan aviyam. Woe to the father, woe to the children. The sibas called inyan agolus u'mitzrayim meitzer agorin hanal. The sib of the inyan of golus is the inyan of Mitzrayim, which means the meitzer agorin, that b'shas a person cannot transmit messages from the mind to the heart. B'meila, his whole spiritual status starts going down, as the Rebbe will explain it further in Barucha.
Aren't the decisions made in the midos? Because in the mind you've got as far as a hin, a hair.
But then there's das. Das is the decision maker in the mind. And then you react emotionally in accordance with that decision.
Don't they say that when you take a makshav and you put it into deep word, it also gets limited? Is that considered part of this?
It's limited because you have to phrase it in words. And you also, when you're speaking for someone else, you cannot say it the way you understand it, because not always the person will understand it. So there is a tzimtzum.
But that's considered part of this neck area, the voice.
Machshav and dibur.
Because you're now articulating it in deep.
The maisa is that dibur is still in the head also. It's not in maisa. There's a bigger hafsik. It says afasisiv. It says yitzartiv, brosiv yitzartiv, afasisiv. It says elam abriya is machshava, is thought. Yitzira is dibur. Maisa, we say af. Af asisiv. Af means hifsiko, and there's a bigger interruption there.
But the voice box is here. The voice box is in the same place.
There is. The Indian that it's mentioned that it says sometimes nichar greini. It says nichar greini, that the voice is hoarse because there's the union of tzimtzum. There's gevuras that are metzamtzum. It says a person, the Rebbe Rashab says, a person's voice contains two or three, you say this. You say the Amayim, you say the Eish. Elements. Right. He says when a person is hoarse, that means that you say the Eish is Magdir. And he explains it. He says this thing, Gvura, Choram, Charein Avshaleilam. It's also, what is Charein Avshaleilam? That the Shechina, the words of the Shechina are not revealed. It's in the way of Nichar Greini, that the voice is not coming through. This is the Golas HaShechina.
Dibur is connected with midos,